Hello and welcome back to Guff Stuff Weekly Podcast. I'm Javen.
I'm Guff.
Today we're going to be talking about everybody's favorite topic:
Gamers etiquette, gaming etiquette.
social contracts.
Yes.
And how did someone else put it?
I don't know.
I don't remember. It was yesterday. Anyways, as you can tell, again, unscripted, and here we go.
Yes, very unscripted.
We have 7 rules. We've outlined this one.
Yeah, that was a little easier to talk about it and not go backwards too much.
Mm-hmm. So, so what is gaming etiquette exactly? So, and social contracts. So the idea is you sit down, you're going to play a game for 4 hours to 6 hours a week with a group of people. You're spending a lot of time together. You want to make sure everybody's going to have fun and that there's rules, soft lines, hard lines.
Right.
You want to make sure that there's guidelines in place and that people are respectful to one another.
Some basic etiquette.
Yeah,
yes.
Just basic social etiquette. It's a topic that we figured was worth covering, though.
And it'll cover other portions of your life. You can figure it out with the gamers. You can figure it out in a grocery store or a gas station.
That's true. So, I guess the first, not necessarily rule number 1, but
right.
The first rule we have is respect the game master. So if you're a player, the GM's the one who's making the story for you. They're putting all the time and effort in. They're trying to juggle the expectations and the wants and needs of four to six people at once. If you have a disagreement with the GM or the DM, however you want to call them, MC, I've heard them called in some games.
The guy running the game.
Yeah, the guy running the game. If you have a disagreement with the GM, don't start an argument at the table about it.
Right.
Because that, first off, you're ruining 4 other people's time. You're wasting their time.
Which is no fun.
It's not.
You're wasting their time. You're wasting energy, resources. It just gets to be a giant hassle overall to just spam arguments.
And I'm not saying that a healthy, questioning a ruling or something like that is
right.
We're not saying bend over and just
yeah.
We're not saying that.
Just follow the rules blindly. Don't question the GM, because it does. Good etiquette is also say, hey, whoa, DM, a 5-foot stride, no attack of opportunity because of that ability. Oh, yeah. Okay. The DM didn't know that,
thanks,
right?
Yeah.
I forgot about it, so okay, good.
Yeah, and so, but we're talking disagreements of, for an example, I had a player one time disagree with a way that a spell worked with his DM.
Right.
And this was in a first edition campaign.
Ooh,
we've had over 30 years to figure out the rules.
Right.
No, we've had longer than that.
It's the 70s.
79, so that would be almost 50 years, 45 years.
It's been a long time.
We had a long time to figure out the rules, and these guys have been playing since the 80s.
Right.
The DM. And we had a new player, and he's arguing with him, and they got into a literal shouting match for over an hour, and I got up and I left. I literally left the game. They're like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm done. I'm not playing the rest of the night. Right. You guys can just sit and argue."
Right.
Call me next week when you guys are done arguing.
It's a good example of ruining a game.
Yeah.
Wasting it for everybody else's time.
Yeah. I waited for a good half hour.
Right.
I would say. Just listening to them argue back and forth, trying to keep the game going, and then arguing and keep the game going, arguing. And I left.
Yeah.
I told the DMs, like, well, we couldn't really finish the session without. I said, well, you weren't really running a session when I was there.
You were just arguing,
you're just
wasting time.
You're wasting my time.
I can do something. I can go play video games.
Yeah, I can go play Company of Heroes.
Yeah, right. There you go. Yeah. We just did a podcast on that. If you missed it, just go back an episode or two. You'll be listening to it.
Yeah. So it's respect the game master.
Right.
In general.
Yeah.
Don't be
that guy.
Yeah, don't be that guy. This is like hidden rule. This is like, we have 7 rules, I guess.
Right.
The hidden 8th rule. We'll skip ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
And that guy is Mr. Toxic. Mr. Pushes his glasses up. Actually,
this is how you do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read the book in front of you, DM.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. I find that if you treat the DM with a little respect too, in that aspect, he'll work harder to make it more fun for you all.
Yeah.
I know I've been a DM in situations where I had multiple players just being really toxic. And at that point, I'm just like, I'm just going to cancel it all because this is not fun for me. I'm not wasting my time every week or 2 weeks or whatever it was at the time. It was a long time ago, but
remember your GM is trying to have fun too.
I'm just, no. So I'm like, I think we're going to skip this week. And then we're going to skip the next session. And then, a month later, the next session comes, I'm busy. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Wait, what's going on here? Oh, the DM's copping out on us. Well, yeah, because I'm sick and tired of 5 toxic people at my table.
I know. I've seen campaigns end because of that.
Yeah, no, I've literally ended campaigns because of it. Now, granted, I usually tell the people. I generally don't go months at a time without telling people, but just because it doesn't work. And so sometimes the DM, it doesn't work for them too.
Yeah. And that goes into, that kind of segues into another one, communication. It's a big point.
Yep.
Being able to communicate with your players, being able to communicate with your DM, being able just to communicate is a really important life skill, and being able to socially read a room,
right,
and understand if something is making people uncomfortable, and to speak up about it. Like I said, everybody's investing their time. If you're going to invest in something, care about it. If you buy a product and it's a horrible product, you're going to leave a bad review, or you're going to say something about it, or you're never going to go back.
Right. Yep.
Well, and you can do that in tabletop role-playing and gaming in general by stating, how you feel about something.
Right, yeah, just by saying it. And if you do that, then the people at the table will respect you a little more. And the DM definitely will. Or if you're the DM, hopefully the players will respect you more. If you're like, hey, dude, stop.
And you don't need to call everybody out on every little thing.
No.
The idea is like, a lot of times you can just talk to your GM after the game, or talk to the player after the game.
Right.
Or talk to your buddy who was also a player after the game.
Talk to the guy sitting next to you. Like,
hey. If the guy sitting next to you made the room uncomfortable and...
I want you eating my Cheetos.
Yeah, I don't want you to eat my Cheetos.
Quit stealing my damn Cheetos, dude.
If you made it awkward, let them know.
Yeah.
Because sometimes some people aren't good at reading social cues.
Right.
And don't be afraid to speak up. And
man, you know what? I've learned one thing in life for me, and I imagine you're not too far off, is that if you're just the guy who takes the initiative, you sometimes, especially since I'm more of an extroverted person, it takes some of the pressure off the people that aren't.
Yeah.
Some of the people that are on that line, or even completely don't want to have any confrontation. If you're just like, hey, you say it in a nice way, you talk to them in a nice way, you can see the weight just being lifted off them by just communicating nicely to them. Yeah. It's not hard to be a decent human if you want to be.
Or if there's a lurking question on everybody's mind, but it's not lurking for you, ask the question, because someone might be afraid to ask it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. Like, okay, so what's the statue for?
Yeah.
Everybody's like, yeah, I know, I wanted to know, but man, it was like, wait, or what? What's that ruling for? Why we do it this way instead of this way?
Or how does this work?
Right.
How does crafting work? Because we're playing a game right now that crafting is not very intuitive.
No.
It's very complex. And it's a matter of, we were all sitting there looking at crafting, and one of us finally spoke, was like, okay, how does this work?
Right.
And finally the DM was like, okay, well, we went back and forth.
Right.
And we realized that the DM has to set some DCs, and we have to decide what we're going to make.
Yeah. We figured it out, but it's because somebody asked. Otherwise, the rest of us would have just sat there trying to figure it out on our own time. We'd have never crafted anything at that point.
Anything, and it's really important in that game system.
Right.
We did doing a podcast on that soon, or we did one.
We did one.
Wait. That's right. We haven't released it yet.
I don't know if it's been released yet. Yeah, it's coming though.
Number 3, be punctual.
That's really important.
Be on time and be ready.
Yes.
For the love of God, I don't want my Friday game to start at 7 p.m. Oh. I want my Friday game to start at 5:30 when it's supposed to start.
What? Who starts at 7? I would never know about that. I don't know what you're talking about. Right. Yeah, it is frustrating. It's unfortunately, when you have X number of people at a table or even the DM. The DM sometimes is taking his time too. I know
Yeah.
I do that. That's probably what he's talking about. It's or you get that guy who shows up 5 minutes late every time. It's like don't be that don't be that guy. Just show up. Like if it says 5:30 or 6, be there before 6, before 5:30. You don't have to be there hour early, although it's not hurt, but
If you have to level up 3 times before the game, show up half hour early.
especially since you knew about it last session.
Exactly.
Like
Especially since you knew about it from last session.
or you showed up 3 hours early and the DM told you you still have to level up.
Yeah.
And then you wait until 6 to level up. Yeah, it's a little frustrating to deal with that. It really is.
Yeah. I get it. There's extenuating circumstances and people can be late here and there. Like life happens. I
Right.
get it.
Right.
There are some things that just are uncontrollable.
Right.
Or you're waiting on someone to bring you a computer so you can level up your character.
Yeah.
Things
Well,
happen. And
Usually the ones that really get you though are the guys who are compulsively late
yeah.
for no reason. It's because, hey, I wonder where so and so is. Oh, they're on Steam playing a video game. It's like they live 45 miles away.
Yeah.
Why are they still playing? Game starts in 20 minutes. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Now, I was using that as an example. There's nobody that I know comes here and plays for 45 miles away. So,
And if you're gonna be late or you're gonna have to cancel, tell people at least as soon as you know.
yeah, that's helpful.
Don't do it last second. That's just not fun for anyone because then their evening's ruined.
Right, yeah, you have 3 people sitting at a table that's supposed to have 6, and one guy cancels. He told his 2 buddies, but he didn't tell the rest of the group. It's like, don't assume. This goes with communication. Don't assume just because you told Joe, your buddy, that you're not going to be there, he was going to tell everybody else.
Yeah.
We've had that happen a lot.
Yeah. Message
games.
everybody individually, or in my case, if you can't message everybody individually, let someone know to let someone else know.
At least tell the DM.
Yeah.
And the DM can go, okay, I will message my group because the DM generally knows, who's in the group and who's not. So, yeah.
Number 4, this one's a pretty obvious one, in my opinion. Be respectful to other players. This kind of goes in hand with the be respectful to the GM.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You're sitting down for 4 hours every week. This is 4 hours. 3 to 6.
Yeah, so it depends on what game you're playing in. I mean, it can go for longer.
You best get along with the people that you're playing with because you're going to be spending a lot of time together.
Yeah, it's just good to have some. Even if you don't really like them, give them a chance. You might like them later.
But Guff, my character is an asshole. Your character might be an asshole,
but you don't have to be.
But you don't have to be an asshole.
Right. Your character can be the asshole towards said character, but you can be a decent human when that player's like, dude, why are you doing that? You don't have to be an asshole to that person because they don't understand you.
Yeah.
And also, not everybody role plays the same way.
Yeah.
So, to be fair,
read the room.
read the room. Read that. Yeah.
Also, for DMs, this is like a side thing that might help. Sorry, we have these bullet points and we're still getting off topic.
Right. No, that's okay because that was fine. Bullet points were just to make us get through all of them.
Session zeros are pretty important. And what a session 0 is you sit down before you ever even play the game. And you make characters, you talk about the game, discuss kind of like, well, what are some things we don't want to touch on in this game?
Right.
Like what are things that might be taboo?
Right.
That's important.
Yeah, no, that's,
You don't want to make anybody uncomfortable.
Right. Or you want to make everybody uncomfortable.
Or maybe the game is you make everybody uncomfortable.
Because I kind of did that with some of the stuff in the first Pathfinder stuff we did.
Yeah.
There was some really weird, bizarre crap there.
But that's also why you were like, you have to be an adult.
Yeah, you can't be 12 years old to play that one.
Yeah. So that's important stuff. And again, as a player, if something like doesn't sit, like a good example is one of the players in a buddy of mine's campaign had this like thing about like ocular damage.
Oh,
like don't describe eyes getting stabbed out and things
Fair
like
enough.
that. And he's like, okay, we won't ever cross that line. And so,
how do you resist?
So one of his characters shot a guy in the eye.
Oh,
and he was about to describe it, and like 3 words in, he's like, "Oh wait, my bad." and then stop describing it.
Yeah.
And the other guy's like, okay, not a problem.
Okay, fair enough, huh?
And
That's funny.
That was a player had talked to his GM beforehand. If you're scared of spiders and giant fish monsters, let your DM know, because
yeah, fears are fears.
fears are fears.
It's called communication.
Next big one, stay focused.
Oof.
Don't be on your goddamn phone.
Yeah, that's tough to deal with. That is. It's I know that's, as a DM, that's probably my biggest thing I've had the issues over with all the years. Not necessarily phone, but just some players need to be entertained 24/7 because that's how they do it when they're playing video games or when they're by themselves. But when you're at a table, you have potentially 5 other people other than you playing, and you have to give them their 10 minutes. You just have to. So either listen or write some background for your character or draw a portrait, but like, don't like go to your phone and start watching videos. And
Here's my favorite one. You're in an intense combat. It gets to, let's call him Joe.
Joe, yeah.
Let's call him Joe.
Joe, okay. Joe's
our generic gamer boy. We've talked about Joe before.
Yep.
Let's say it gets to Joe's turn, and this is an intense combat, and Joe's playing the fighter, and he says, "All right, I'm going to attack on him." On what? The guy's dead. What do you mean? Where is it? Wait, let me look at the board. Where is everybody? Who's fighting who?
Wait, what? You didn't know that the match is over? What? Or the round
No,
is
no,
over?
it's not. Yeah, it's not over. There's still guys to fight.
Right,
But Joe just didn't realize that his guy had been killed by the rogue who backstabbed him because Joe wasn't paying attention.
yeah,
That is my number one. Just like, get out of my game.
yeah, that's tough. I know for me, there's a little bit of a fine line there. And, I gotta have a drink here.
So Guff had a coughing attack,
Yeah, unfortunately.
and we lost our train of thought.
That happens.
We're back now though, and we're talking about the next point, which is be flexible.
Yoga.
Game's a collaborative experience. Nothing ever goes according to plan in role-playing games.
Yeah.
Be open to new ideas and twists in the story. Be willing to adapt your character and actions to fit the situation.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a paladin, yes, you're a paladin. You understand that. But sometimes the paladin's got to look the other way.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're just going to kill the rogue every time. I mean, that's just bottom line. Or the warlock. Let's be honest.
And a lot of this goes back to that session 0 too on this one. Where like, manage your expectations and make sure that the people at the table know what the expectations are.
Right.
If back in first edition Dungeons and Dragons, if you wanted to play a paladin, you better let your party know, for one.
Yep.
And 2, you better make sure that everybody at the table is okay with it.
Yeah, because you're going to be the holier than thou, and you're going to make sure everybody knows it.
And you're never going to do anything moderately morally great.
No, because that's not how paladins worked back then.
Yep. So, another one that comes up a lot is like tone of campaigns, like serious.
Oh, yep.
If you're playing a serious game, you don't need to be the funny guy every 10 seconds.
No.
You don't need to have a witty comment every 10 seconds. Look for a different game then. If just read the tone of the game. If you're playing in Strahd, like Curse of Strahd,
right,
or Tomb of Annihilation, don't just go running in and kicking down doors and like.
No, it's tough to play with people that don't. I would even say that you can be both in a game. You just have to pick your time. Like, I know when we're in games you're DMing or whatever. There's times where we joke around. Want to buy some blood? Then there's times where it's fairly serious. Yeah. And so you got to have that. Again, it goes back to paying attention, gamer etiquette. Don't be on your phone because you might miss something. Don't go, hey, DM, what'd you say? DM's been there for 5 minutes waiting for you to do something. And you had no clue that he was waiting for you. The whole table's quiet because they're waiting for you. Just pay attention. That's what it
Then
goes back to.
another one is be gracious in victory and defeat. You pull off something really cool, hell yeah. Let the table talk about it for a little
Right.
bit. Talk about it after the game a little bit if you want to.
Right.
But you don't need to brag about it or be like, "Oh, I'm so smart that I did this." Or
Right. I found that if you want to be excited about that and you want to live it up a little, help somebody else do something really cool.
Yeah,
then you guys can like high five each other.
Exactly.
And like, the whole table's all jacked. Then
Yeah.
you just help everybody get those moments because it feels good to be that guy who changed the whole scenario because you did something that nobody else was thinking about.
Yep.
But don't be like, huh, you guys are stupid. You think nothing. You're just dumb. Because there are those players, unfortunately, that do that. Or even if you're not in tabletop gaming, you're playing, say, a game of Magic. Don't be that guy that you're better than that player, but don't rub it in his face after it's over.
Yeah.
I know, like when I started playing Magic, playing against you or some of the other people that are way more knowledgeable. Some were very easy to play against, and some weren't. And you were one of the ones that were definitely much easier because you'd be like, "Hey, whoa! This is what I would do in this circumstance." And even if I lose, you've taught me something about playing. But, when you're playing against that guy who's like a superior guy and it's just a drag. And again, then I don't want to play.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to lose players. You want to keep all the players you can.
Exactly. Because more people equals more fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Bottom line. Yeah.
And communication and just being a good person goes a long way with that.
Goes back to don't being that guy.
Yeah. All comes back to that. Don't be that guy.
Yeah, just be the guy that everybody wants to hang out with, not the guy that everybody despises and cringes when they see you.
I have unfortunately kicked players out of games because they are that guy.
Yeah,
and it's not just like an axe comes down and I just chop their head off.
No,
it's a hey man, something needs to change
Right.
in the way that we're playing. It's bogging down the game. Some players are uncomfortable with comments you make.
Right.
It's hard to do. Especially if they're a friend.
Yeah.
Because I've kicked friends out of games before.
That's painful.
But they were good friends, and they're at the end of it all, they're like, yeah, I guess I kind of was in the wrong.
Yeah, I shouldn't have been such a dick. Sorry, man.
And then I've invited them back to play again, and then they've changed their attitudes.
Yeah.
And so
that's that. Play with the table, not against it.
Yep.
I think we've covered a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think so too.
That it's a good without getting into too much more. I think. Excuse me again. I think we're good. I don't know. What do you think? You think you're happy with this?
I'm happy with it.
All right. If you guys have any comments or anything, feel free to harass us about them. Anyway, until next time.